Welcome to a new deep dive. Today, we're diving into some really fascinating ideas, a set of principles that champion something pretty intense: radical self-focus.
hmm
It's all about building your strongest self, really, to kind of win at life, you could say.
Exactly. And we're looking at principles that, well, they cut through a lot of the noise, don't they?
They really do.
They challenge some common ideas about success, about personal growth.
Yeah.
Our goal today really is to boil down the key insights from this material.
Yeah, get to the core.
Right. Help you understand not just what these ideas are, but maybe more importantly, why they matter so much for, your own journey.
Okay, so let's unpack this first big one. The foundational truth here is pretty direct, maybe even a bit blunt.
Ah.
Nobody is coming to save you. It argues your life only really shifts when you decide, like unequivocally, to put all your energy on you. Yeah. Every dream, every goal. It all depends on how much you're willing to focus on yourself without distractions, excuses, or, you know, waiting for someone else's okay. That's a big shift for a lot of people, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's an immediate paradigm shift.
Mm.
You go from looking outward, hoping for something,
Yeah.
maybe even feeling like a victim sometimes,
Right.
to realizing the power is internal. The sources say the world, well, it rewards those who master themselves, not those who blame, not those who wait.
Self-mastery.
It's about this relentless focus, fierce almost, on their growth, their vision, their path. And look, this isn't saying be isolated or selfish.
No, not at all.
It's about claiming total ownership of where you're headed. It's
Yeah.
basically saying, if you're not putting your own development first, nobody else will.
Yeah.
And you can't really expect real progress that way.
That makes sense. And building on that ownership idea, the very first chapter we looked at insists on building your strongest self every single day.
Every day, no breaks.
It's almost like alarming. It says you cannot afford to take days off.
No.
The thinking is every moment you're not actively growing.
It counts against you.
Exactly. It compounds against you. You're either building the life you want actively or you're just drifting into one you don't. It feels less like advice and more like I don't know, a law of physics or something.
It does. Which brings up the obvious question.
Hmm.
Okay, what does building yourself actually look like day to day? Practically speaking.
Right. What are we talking about?
And the source actually breaks it down really simply. Concrete, small things we tend to overlook.
Like what?
Like 1 hour of reading instead of scrolling. That's a big one today.
Huge.
One workout instead of making excuses. Saying no to junk food and yes to something that fuels your body. Or just setting real goals for your life.
These aren't massive, earth-shattering things.
No, they're small, consistent choices. But together, they build that strongest self, brick by brick. But here's the really powerful part, I think. When this strength gets built, it's when it is hard, when you are tired, when you are discouraged, and maybe most importantly, when no one claps for you.
Oh, yeah, when nobody's watching.
Exactly. It's in that silence, that struggle, when there's zero external validation, that you lay down this foundation that nobody can take away from you.
That's power.
The
then.
source calls consistency the real secret.
Mm-mm.
It's not fancy, not always exciting.
No quick fixes.
Nope. But it's incredibly powerful.
Mm.
And it's available to everyone, really.
That focus on the unseen daily work, it leads right into the next idea. Training your mind to ignore all outside noise.
Ah, the noise?
The source paints this picture of the modern world just being built to distract you. Every notification, every bit of useless news, every negative voice, all trying to steal your future from you. It really puts a spotlight on how much our attention is, well, under attack.
If you step back and think about it, this really highlights how sacred your attention is. It's like your most valuable currency, right? Your attention builds your life.
Mm-hmm.
So the second you let that noise in, you're giving away power. You're inviting doubt. You're letting your vision shrink.
And the source is really specific about what counts as noise. It's quite ruthless.
It is. It says, if it does not push you closer to your vision, it is noise. If it does not help you grow stronger, it is noise. If it drains your energy instead of building it, it is noise.
Wow. That's a clear filter.
It's not about being arrogant, though. It's about clarity. It's understanding that your life is too important to be hijacked by other people's doubts or fears.
So the ultimate freedom, then.
It comes when you no longer need the world to understand you,
Mm-hmm.
because your focus is just that strong. External opinions, they just bounce off.
Which brings us to something really personal, I think. The idea of fighting for your dreams when no one believes.
Mm-hmm. A lonely place sometimes.
Yeah, it's common, right? People might care about you, sure, but They cannot see the fire inside you. They can't grasp that vision that only you were given. It speaks to that isolation you can feel on a unique path.
And it draws a really important line between what you can expect from others and what's purely your responsibility.
Oh, so
The source is crystal clear. It is not their job to believe, it is yours.
ouch. But true.
Yeah. The fight for your dreams, it's often lonely work. It's an inner battle against your own doubts, your own fears. Only you can fight that.
So what separates the fighters?
Real fighters, the source says, they're motivated by purpose, not by applause.
No.
They don't just put up with rejection and failure. They actually build resilience from them.
Like fuel.
Exactly. They see dreams not just as, getting something at the end, but as the whole process of transformation. It's the training ground for greatness. Courage, then, isn't about not feeling scared.
Huh.
It's about moving forward, even when fear is loud.
Okay, so if you really want something real to happen, something big, the message is loud and clear. You have to show up for yourself every single day.
Every single day.
Not just now and then or when you feel like it, but consistently. It even says most people miss their dreams not because they do not have the potential, but because they're inconsistent. That consistency, it feels like it's about more than just habits. It's about self-respect, maybe?
Absolutely. This idea of showing up is directly linked to building that deep sense of self-respect, self-trust, even.
How does that work?
Well, when you consistently do what you told yourself you'd do, you build this internal foundation that becomes truly unshakable. It goes beyond just willpower.
It becomes automatic.
Yeah, exactly. Showing up becomes part of who you are. It becomes your identity. It becomes automatic. And the source really emphasizes the huge potential in this simple habit. It says, if you can master the art of showing up daily, you can build anything.
Anything.
Anything. Transform your health. Build wealth. It's about just placing one stone on top of the next, day after day, because what you do daily is what builds your future. Simple, but profound.
Building on that daily grind, the sources state very directly, the world today is not short on opportunity. It is short on focus.
That hits home, doesn't it?
It does. And it frames distractions not just as annoyances, but as actual thieves, stealing your time, your energy, your future. That's a strong way to put it.
It is. And what's really interesting is how active focus is presented. It says, focus is not something you find. Focus is something you build.
Ah, okay. So you have to work at it.
You have to work at it.
Yeah.
And building it means actively cutting out anything that weakens it. This requires, well, a brutally honest look at how you're really spending your time.
Uh-oh. Honesty time.
Yeah. And then creating an environment that actually supports your goals.
Huh?
Cleaning your space, turning off those notifications we talked about, guarding your mental space, being ruthless and intentional.
Ruthless seems to be a theme here.
Well, the source argues your dream deserves your full strength. Your future deserves your full attention. So you have to protect that attention strategically.
Okay, this next part feels like a real turning point. It's the call to stop pointing the finger.
The blame game.
Yeah, and instead, take full responsibility for everything you want to change. The source admits blaming is easy. It even feels good for a moment,
But the cost is way too high. That's the argument.
Right, how so?
Because when you blame, you're essentially handing over control.
Yeah.
You give away your ability to fix it. Owning your life means accepting it all your decisions, habits, mindset, results. Not to beat yourself up.
No, not self-blame.
Exactly. It's about self-empowerment. Recognizing that, okay, external stuff happens, but your response, your mindset, that's where your power lies. That's the lever you can actually pull.
Shifting from passive to active.
Precisely. When you stop blaming, you start building. When you stop making excuses, you start creating solutions. It stresses that responsibility is not about fault. It is about ownership. And ultimately, the power has always been yours, just waiting for you to pick it up.
It's a guarantee, isn't it? There will always be moments when the idea of quitting seems easier than continuing. We've all felt that.
Oh, absolutely. Universal.
The source says everyone feels like quitting, but not everyone chooses to push harder when it happens. So what's the difference? What makes someone push through?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
Why do so many people stop, maybe right before things turn around?
Yeah.
The source suggests it's because they let temporary feelings decide their permanent future.
Ooh, letting emotions drive the bus.
Exactly. Pushing harder isn't about pretending it's not difficult or being some kind of robot. It's about deeply understanding that pain is part of the process. That wall you hit, It's not a stop sign.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge, an invitation, really, to go beyond what you thought your limits were. And here's a really powerful, kind of counterintuitive idea from the source.
Okay.
The reason you feel like quitting is because you are closer than you think.
Whoa. Really?
That's the perspective. It's about building that mental toughness, that emotional resilience, anchored by the belief that your future was more valuable than your temporary emotions. It's often right there in that final push through the discomfort that the real magic happens.
The sources also acknowledge those really tough times, those seasons in life where you put in the work but you do not see the results.
The invisible seasons.
Yeah. And it says this is where most people give up. It's the ultimate patience test, maybe even an act of faith.
It's so crucial for anything long-term. The source uses this great analogy of a seed underground.
Ah, I like that.
For weeks, it looks like nothing is happening,
Right.
just dirt. But underneath, roots are growing, foundations are being laid, strength is being built out of sight.
Hidden progress.
Exactly. Patience, it says, is powerful. But it's not passive waiting. It's an act of loyalty to the process, even when nothing seems to be happening on the surface. Trusting the process means believing in what you can't yet see.
Staying loyal to your own efforts.
Yes. Even when your feelings are screaming at you to stop. Understanding that unseen growth is still growth, and that the invisible seasons are where your character is built. That's where resilience is truly forged, getting you ready for when things do break through.
And of course, as you aim for something bigger, the world will test you. Distractions, doubts, roadblocks, they just show up.
Always.
Which is why, according to these ideas, your vision has to be stronger than your emotions.
And notice the active language again. Protecting your vision isn't passive. It's not something you just glance at occasionally.
No.
No, it's something you keep alive in your mind every single day. You have to see it so clearly that it becomes more real than your current reality.
More real than right now.
More real than right now, and believe in it so strongly that temporary setbacks cannot shake your faith. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's like cognitive training, reinforcing it constantly.
So you don't shrink your dreams down.
Exactly. You don't shrink your dreams to fit temporary circumstances. Instead, you expand yourself to meet the challenges, and eventually you become unshakable. Because when that vision is burned into your mind,
Quitting just isn't on the table.
quitting is not an option. Simple as that.
So this deep dive really wraps up with a fundamental truth, doesn't it? Life will knock you down.
It's gonna happen.
It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And the key takeaway is, falling is not failure, staying down is. Falling isn't the end, it's a choice point.
It really frames defeat differently, doesn't it? So the question becomes, how do you respond in that moment when you're down?
What are the options?
The source gives two clear paths. One, stay down, do not try again. Basically accept defeat as permanent.
Out.
Or two, stand up, move forward, trust that this is not where your story ends. Every time you fall, it's really a test of your hunger, your resolve.
So you're not defined by the fall.
No, you're defined by your rise. You're defined by the courage it takes to stand back up. And every time you do that, you're not just getting back in the game.
You're building something.
You're building grit. You're fueling that inner fire. And maybe most importantly, you're building a reputation with yourself that says, no matter what happens, I will find my way back.
A reputation with yourself. I like that.
It's the ultimate proof, isn't it?
Yeah.
Proof to yourself that you're still in the fight.
Yeah.
That you are capable of getting that life you were meant to live.
Wow. We've covered a lot today. And the message running through all these sources, it's definitely challenging, no doubt about it. But it's also incredibly empowering, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
The theme that just keeps coming up is this call to radical self-responsibility, unwavering dedication, understanding that, the biggest fights are usually internal.
Inside ourselves.
And the biggest wins come from choosing commitment over comfort, consistency over just feeling motivated, and belief over doubt again and again.
Absolutely. And if you connect all these dots, it becomes really clear that real lasting success, it's not really about luck, is it? Or getting approval from others.
No.
It's about that relentless, often invisible daily grind of building your strongest self.
Yeah.
Guarding your focus, owning your whole journey, the good and the bad, and just having the guts to get back up every single time you fall.
So for you listening, what does all this boil down to? I think it means you've already got what you need inside you right now.
Yeah.
It's not about needing more talent or waiting for someone to rescue you or for the perfect time. It's about deciding. making a real commitment to yourself, maybe deeper than ever before, and starting today with those small, consistent steps.
Well said. And maybe here's one last thought to chew on. Imagine your future self. Years from now, they've seen it, all the struggles, the wins, everything you're facing now, and everything still to come.
Yeah.
If that future self could whisper just one thing back to you today, right now, what do you think it would be? Would it be, just quit, it's too hard?
Probably not.
Or would it be something like focus? Focus fully on becoming who you were meant to be. Be relentless about it. Keep going until you win.